Is there a story of a system change, of a community making a change that you've been part of that you would like to share?
A story that is still unfolding, and to be fully transparent, evolving, it feels like every minute of every day, is really our system has highlighted the need for the expansion of coordinated entry and for people to understand the way to access COC resources and just the role of the COC. We've been able to have work groups stood up for outreach and coordinated entry where that has come up often. And so we're still in our infancy in many ways of launching mobile assessors, a no wrong door approach. We have special population access points that we're trying to expand, and internally in the Partners for Home organization, and just with our COC community, how can we expand people's comfort in navigating the system? And so being able to have now mobile assessors from across different agencies being willing to go where people are, to be able to have coordinated entry assessments done in encampments, to have a really mobile approach for all of our outreach teams that were contracted. That's something that we've tried to stand up in our most recent projects with Downtown Rising and Lift 2.0. And it really has shifted people's understanding. And my hope is that people feel like they can empower others, they can educate others, community members they may see and know what to do. It's still ongoing. We still have a lot of work to do, a lot of neighbors to reach, but I think even seeing the glimmers of understanding, the glimmers of more mobile assessors, more access points, and once again being curious and investigative about how does our youth access our system. Are these access points actually the way that they're going to get their assessments done and be connected to resources? Or is there a model where we have pop-ups? Is there a model where we have trusted mobile assessors go where folks are frequent and have been invited and built trust and rapport with folks to be able to do those assessments? And how well can we train our folks with lived experience to be able to become mobile assessors and advocates of the system? So that's a system change as opposed to putting the burden on people experiencing homelessness to go and find the brick and mortar buildings that you need to go to access an assessment after navigating everything that they deal with on a day-to-day basis, and transportation being a barrier, maybe mobility being a barrier. To really bring it to people is a system change I'm proud to be a part of, and proud that we're starting to see the glimmers. I think there's glory in the glimmers as well. And so we'll keep working and striving and learning and being curious about how that system change actually materializes as we move through our projects.
I want "There's glory in the glimmers" on a t-shirt. That's amazing. Um, one of the things I feel like I just heard you say is that a pitfall can, when you're rolling out a change, that a pitfall could be making assumptions, like assuming that you know how youth want to access the system and maybe being wrong in that assumption. What are some of the other pitfalls? Like, what are some of the things that can go wrong, and how would you, maybe caution people to avoid those pitfalls?
I would say one that comes to mind that I'm always thinking about is not being focused on the outcome or the product, right? Of really setting up a project or a plan just to, however we get there, the point is to get there. I think people's experience in the process is so important. People's ability to build or lose faith in the system happens through the process by which they navigate it. And so being able to infuse curiosity, care, respect, dignity throughout any project, and being very intentional about that is something that I think, in the churn and desire to move quickly with a sense of urgency, because the experience of homelessness is traumatic and is an emergency, that we may want to fix it fast. And in honoring that urgency, I think we also have to honor the experience and knowing that along the way, harm can happen. And so how do we address that? I think another pitfall in planning or figuring out how to approach is not leaving room for reflection. I think reflection is one of the most powerful tools we have available to us, especially as a community or as a team or as a creative, a creator, an inventor, because in many ways that's how we learn. And if we don't slow down fast enough to reflect on what's happened, we won't see the gaps, right? If we keep looking forward, we don't get the opportunity to see the depth and the width of our impact. And in many ways, I think being able to carve in that piece will help people know what's next, especially when you have, a multi-year or a multi-prong approach. Reflection is something you may feel like you don't have time for, but I think it's critical in being able to address gaps or barriers.
You've given us such an inspiring picture of what system change can look like. Is there anything else that you want to add?
I would say anticipate friction though. Change can be challenging in many, many ways. And in in the new landscape that we have for our system, for our nation, that friction is also what you need to spark. It's that kind of ripping and tearing, that shifting that also creates the trembles of new beginnings. And so knowing that there will be friction, knowing that there will be tension or pressure is, I think, the best gift you can give yourself, and hope that you infuse grace in your journey as well as folks who may be coming alongside you to know that with great change comes great challenge. But the choice to face it, embrace it, or chase it is your choice. And you get choices. And I think being super on the nose about this is going to be challenging, this is going to be hard. We're trying to shift, in many ways, an iceberg. We want to see something move, not knowing how much inertia we actually will need to pull it off is key. And I think being open and ready to face it is probably the best way to go about it. And even if you're more of a pessimist too, it's like it's inevitable. So how you grapple with it, how you build resilience is the best medicine for it. And I find that, we look at our history as a nation and how homelessness response has evolved. There's so much we've had to navigate. And so I believe in our ability to sustain. I believe in our ability to prevail. I believe in our ability to build community and start over and listen and grow, and that every generation has change makers. So the work is never done, but the gifts we're given are never done being given as well. So that's that's the last bit that I would say.
And I really think that's something that everyone who works in homeless response needs to hear right now. So thank you so much for your thoughts, and thank you so much for your leadership, and thank you for your time today. I really appreciate it. And I can't wait to share this with the Alliance's audience. So thank you.
Thank you, Rachel. Thank you so much.